Happy Fragrant Friday, Fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy, coming at you with a new... Ireland got it this week. Review. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well. First and foremost, of course, Happy New Year. You know, may 2023 be all that you want it to be. I hope you have a great new year, a safe one, and I hope you have a wonderful 2023. So this episode, of course, is the last one of 2022, and I really appreciate your support over this year and all the previous ones as well. It means a lot. So you've seen the title and the description, so you know this week I am reviewing none other than CoSTUME National Homme Parfum. And you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, you've been wanting that a long time, and it's the first episode since Christmas. Could it be that Santa Claus drop this off? And you are correct. So this is a Christmas gift, a long-awaited Christmas gift, because, as you might know, this one was never, until now, I mean, at least up until now, it has not been released in North America. So it was a hard one for Santa Claus to find. He is from Finland, so maybe he got it in Helsinki. I don't know. I'm asking no questions, okay? So I'll talk about the box first and foremost, and then let me just quickly say, you know, usually I try to do just a review of something, and then if I compare it to the original, or another one, I will go back and do a different episode. I'm not going to do that. This episode is on the Parfum, but you should know that I'm a huge fan of two things. Number one, cinnamon, and then number two, I'm a huge fan of the original CoSTUME National Homme Eau de Parfum. And so this is the 2009 original, and I'm going to just mesh my comments between the two. So this is a review of this fragrance, but it's also comparing it to the original, just in case you were curious. But you should know that I am biased because, again, I love cinnamon, and then I love the original so very much. I'm super excited that I got the 2020 release finally. So let me just say in the box right off the bat, you can see one thing I love about this one is the fact that it is quite shiny indeed. Notice that there's kind of a minimalist aspect to the box, but then the actual print, that's not lighting that you're seeing really. That is just the fact that it's so shiny, and I like that you can see it. I also like that they put the batch code on the box. That's one thing I've noticed lately. They seem to be putting it either on the bottle or the box, and this is on both. And speaking of batch codes, this is 0238A, 0238A, and the batch is January 2020, original batch of this soon-to-be masterpiece. Okay, so I really like the box, very good quality, and it even says, by the way, Parfum up on top. As I said, be careful. Remember, that is a higher concentration of the fragrance, because this one, of course, is Eau de Parfum, and then this one is Parfum. The only thing I will say is interesting, that's the back of it, and then on the front they put Parfum on the bottom. So this is a 100 milliliter 3.4 ounce full bottle, and let's check out the bottle. As you can see here, it's par for course for this house. I have to tell you, I really like this house. I'm a huge fan of CoSTUME National. In fact, my biggest challenge with the house is to say national, because for some reason, some people, and I myself fell victim to this, will say CoSTUME National. And it's an Italian company, so it'd be Nazionale. So I'm not sure why we say CoSTUME National. Or maybe it was just me in my head. But I will try to say CoSTUME National. And this, of course, is, again, an Italian company. They known for interesting, unique fashion. And then, of course, in the fragrance world, they're known for, quote-unquote, thinking outside the box. I'm not a big fan of buzzwords, but I will say here it merits that. They really do think outside of the box. I like the fragrances that I've tried from the house have always been highly original, even if I'm not necessarily, a huge fan. But I really appreciate that about this house. The other thing I'll mention is they're kind of quirky in the sense that the second the second letter O always is always lowercased. So it's always uppercased everything except for the second letter. So I don't know if that's an ode to company. I'm not sure why that is, and so maybe if I get a chance after this, I might make that my bonus feature for this episode because I'm kind of curious about that. Anyway, love the house. So Homme, of course, means is French for man. It is not homie. As fun as that is to say, and then of course remember Parfum is a higher concentration. So really like the bottle. Again, there's the batch code, and the print is exceedingly clear. That is not just because of excellent, superb lighting, which of course my channel is known for, but is actually just because it is so clear, and I like that they put the batch code on the bottle as well. Of course, like all of their bottles, I think that I've seen so far, they have the front is, I think concave is the term I'm supposed to use. You can see that. I like that. Kind of a nice mix of minimalism versus, when you see a bottle, you know what company it's from. And I like that about these guys because it's kind of like the perfect blend of minimalism, yet it's got a nice splash of uniqueness to it. And then let's get to the part. I'm not a huge fan when it comes to their bottles of the cap. That might not mean anything to some people. I'm just being persnickety here. Look at that. It's like, ugh, look at that. It's like, it just doesn't really scream prestige, does it? I don't know. It looks like an atomizer, so when you first get these things, you go like this, and then it's like, wait a minute. And then the cap, it does not have a cheap feel to it, though, by the way. It does not at all. But like an ultra small cap. I'm just not really buying the cap that could be an atomizer thing. Just highly subjective. I'm probably the only one who's annoyed by that, but that's okay. I would also say that the atomizer is decent. For the two bottles that I've had, they're not bad, but they certainly are not. It won't cause you not to buy or be turned off by the house, but I would have liked a better atomizer on both of them. Every once in a while, some of the sprays are a little less than stellar. You're going to see here, though, if I hold it like this, you're going to see a good spray. Here we go. Boom. See? So it emits quite nicely. I just would have liked the icing on the cake would have been just an even better atomizer. But hey, that's just me being persnickety and grumpy. And then the last thing I would say is don't forget about the new one, the 2020 version, was not released in North America, and that's why Santa Claus had to go probably to Helsinki, but he had to go far, far away to get his hands on this one because it was never officially released in North America, and I have absolutely no idea why. I can't think of any notes. I'm just trying to think of like any European Commission, any North American, like any issue with like maybe the Musk or something. But see, the EC, the European Commission, has higher standards than here. So I just don't have any answer for you. If you know why, you can let me know. So I've had my hands on this one for a long time. This is the 2009 original, which I love, of course, as I said. And then this is the long-awaited flanker. So and you could say updated version, but I'm going to talk about the notes in a second. The Parfum here is Dominique Ropion, Ropion, so it looks like Ropion or Ropion. I really appreciate his work generally. I really like the fact that he weaves an interesting web of crowd pleasers mixed with really unique ones, like this one. And of course, the updated version is no exception. I was actually not able to find if there is a reason why they have the O, the second letter, in CoSTUME lowercase. So it must just be one of those hipster, modern, It just is because it is. Let me know if you have heard any reason why. Usually they'll actually say something, there's a story behind it, but I was not able to find one, sadly, because it has piqued my interest. What I did find on their site was in their own description, which I love to read, of Parfum. So this is the new one, the one in this review, and this is what CoSTUME National has to say about this one. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. Homme Parfum expresses the genetic code of CoSTUME National in its essential elegance, the purity of the ingredients, and the unique made in Italy design. The metropolitan and cosmopolitan spirit of CoSTUME National Homme Parfum interprets perfection in a sophisticated style, an aesthetic balance in which creative avant-garde meets the purity of modern lines in sensual harmony. Drop mic. Does it really, really, truly do that? Close enough, my friends. So that's a little bit about the house, a little bit about the bottle, the box, the parfum, and now let's get to the notes. So when it comes to the notes, the short version of this, which I don't have too many short versions on my channel, the short version is this is essentially similar to the original minus the cloves, adding vetiver. That's a very short, untrained nose version for you. So you might say, well, that's great, but I've never smelled this one. So let's start off with the original. The original is a bergamot, cardamom, cloves, cinnamon bomb. I love this one because it is so unique. And so those are the main players here in the original. Now, this one is, we still have the grapefruit, the bergamot, and the cardamom in the top notes. We still do. But in the mid, we now have cinnamon and then vetiver instead of the cloves, which is interesting to have vetiver as a mid note. Most of the fragrances that have vetiver that I've reviewed typically put that in the base. Those are the mid notes, and then the base notes. We have, I picked up, sandalwood, but I mean, that's pretty obvious. And it does have a little bit of musk also in the base. So this is not just the eau de parfum in a higher concentration. He definitely switched out the cloves, either all together or really, really toned them down, and then he added in vetiver. And so the result is really this. I see this as this is the hipster man bun coffee shop, working at coffee shop beard phase in your 20s. This one is not necessarily refined. This one is brash. This is in your face. This is a clash or even a crash of waves of two notes that the cardamom and then the citrus mixed with the cinnamon and cloves. So I mean, it's like the unstoppable force against the immovable object. So it's an interesting situation here because they don't necessarily go together, and that's what we all love. I mean, one reviewer said it smells like cigarettes and movie theater popcorn. In an odd way, he or she is actually pretty close to that. I mean, it has kind of a buttery feel, but then it has a very strong ash feel. I could not love this one more. So if that sounds like a critique, it's not. I would just say this one is a slightly smoothed. It's almost like he wanted to smooth out the rough edges of the original and kind of offer something that is, quote unquote, as crowd-pleasing as CoSTUME National Homme could possibly get. It's not, of course, but I just mean this one really smooths out the rough edges if you find the original rough to begin with. I think that's what he was trying to do here, which is why, by the way, I disagree with most Unfragrantica who have stated that this one is more of a day fragrance and they find this one to be more of a night fragrance. I actually disagree because for me this one is just slightly more of a barbershop element to it. It's not a barbershop at all, but I just mean it has a little bit of barbershop quality to it. Some people said coconut. I don't get that at all. But I do get this kind of clean barbershop element to it to this one with the vetiver and with the cloves removed. So I actually see this as something a little bit more for the day in the office, whereas this one is a little bit more of the night and going out. But that, again, in showing off more of a unique fragrance that's going to mix or show off or showcase my personality, right? Because I like this one. Like I said, this is the man bun beard coffee shop hipster phase, and then this is going to be the older brother to it. No critiques here. That's just an observation because I absolutely adore both of these fragrances. That's the way I see it when it comes to the notes. So again, you're going to have bergamot, cardamom, grapefruit in the top, cinnamon, vetiver, and then the sandalwood and musk come in the base. That's my best attempt. So what does it smell like? That is a really hard, this is a tough description because I just find this incredibly unique. It's not for everybody, but that's why I like it. I like the fact that it projects well and it is so incredibly unique. Somebody said it smells similar to Versace Oud Noir, but I have not smelled that one. And either way, this one smells like this one. So, I mean, highly original. If you want to smell very, very nice, something that you yourself would like, and then also get interest from people because it doesn't smell like anything. So people are going to say, hey, what is it that you're wearing? Then it's the perfect marriage of the two here for you. The only thing you wouldn't like is, I mean, if you do not like cinnamon, in the first one cloves, but in the new version, in the Parfum, if you don't like cinnamon mixed with, a citrus like the grapefruit and the bergamot, you're just not going to like these fragrances. It's really that simple. So it's not necessarily, for everyone, but that can, of course, be a plus. All right, so those are notes. Now let's go to age. This one, if we're calling this the 18 to 29 hipster phase, and then we're gonna bump this to we're gonna say for age we're gonna say 30 and up on this one. I see this as a 30 and up as far as people who actually own it, wanted it, have this as a gift. Had it on their wish list. And then I do think, Homme, of course, is French for man. I do think in terms of marketing, you're going to see about an 85-15 split, with 85% of people who actually own this and wanted it will be men, and 15% will be women. I mean, I do think a woman could pull these off, but with the vetiver and the musk and the cinnamon not sandalwood because that's a unisex, but I think you're just going to see a lot more men wearing this fragrance. A woman could pull both of these fragrances off, though, and I could see why she would really, really like this one, especially if she likes cloves. Then this is one for her as well, the original. And of course, if you didn't like cloves in the original, you will be very happy because they are no longer present or extremely minimal at the very most. So those are the notes, and that's the gender, and that's the age. When it comes to season, this is another one that's pretty easy. This is going to be in order. This is going to be a fall, winter, spring, or perhaps if I'm going in order, a winter, fall, spring. But in terms of the calendar, we'd be looking at something like a September to May would be perfect for this one. And then I would wear it in the summer, but I think if you're in a hot climate, I could say if I went to the swimming pool all day in 100-degree weather in July, and then I took a shower and got ready for the day afterwards, would I reach for something like this naturally? Yeah, probably not. I'd probably do the Acqua di Gio route or something. I can't see this as a summer fragrance. I don't know that it would be too cloying for hot climates, but just be very, very, very careful go easy on the trigger, as they say, if you are in a hot climate. This is definitely the strong point would be September to the end of May. So we're looking at about 75 degrees Fahrenheit, of course, and lower. So there you have it. That's really the seasons. And then, as I said, if you wanted me to commit, I would see this slightly more for the day and slightly more for the night in these two, but that is reversed from what most people have said. So let's go to the event. Hey, look, it's all about the notes. If you like cinnamon, if you like the fact that cinnamon's mixing with citrus, and you like vetiver, you like musk, you like sandalwood, good God, who wouldn't like that? Then you're going to like this fragrance at any event. I guess maybe two exceptions that I can think of would be, would I reach for this, for a wedding reception in July at 100 degrees at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? I would not. I probably would not reach for it. If it were the only one in my travel bag, yes, I would. But if I have my collection, no, I would probably reach for something, lighter. The second thing would be if you work in an office where they promote or even demand a fragrance neutral environment, you would either go really easy on the trigger or forget this one and move on to something else, because it's not for the I just want to smell myself and I don't want anyone else to smell me crowd. This is one that will really garner attention from other people, and I like that about this one. Okay, so let's get to the rating. This was an exceptionally easy rating for me, and that one is this one could only be a 5 out of 5 sprays in my system. In my system, I have 5 as the top, and then I have an elusive, that cologne guy, 6th elusive bonus spray that I've considered, only given out twice. And I'm going to say right now, this one doesn't quite get to 6, and I'll tell you why. I've got 3 points here. Number 1, it was not sold in North America. Shame on them. No, I don't know why. And like I said, maybe it was something to do with the notes. I don't know, but it has not been available in I should say the United States, actually, because you can get it in a website in Canada. So maybe it was released in Canada. I have no idea, but it was hard to find in the U.S. That's unfortunate. Same thing as you guys know. I'm just not. I know it's subjective. I just don't really get the cap is a little bit too hipster for me. I don't really get that. I mean, I still want to just grab it and spray, and then it doesn't do anything odd. And then the last one would be the atomizer. The atomizer is just not outstanding to elevate it or keep it at a 6 out of 5. So we are going to go 5 out of 5. Just a gushing review. I'd be surprised if any reviewer gave anything less than, a 9 out of 10, 5 out of 5, whatever system he or she uses. This is going to get a lot unless they don't like the warm spices. That's going to be the only thing that keeps them away from, giving a high rating. I obviously don't share that because I love the original and I love this one, both in slightly different ways. I miss the cloves, but I really like the vetiver. So, it's a tie for me if between the original and the flanker. It's been long awaited, and it certainly didn't disappoint. 5 out of 5 sprays for this soon-to-be co-masterpiece with its original. I'm going to go 1 on each side of the neck, 1 on each wrist, and 1, boom, right smack dab in the middle of the chest. Boom. 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 And boom. There you have it. 5 out of 5. Easy. In fact, the only question would be, will TCG give out the elusive 6th bonus spray? So 5 out of 5 sprays for this. I adore these fragrances. I find them highly addicting, and I'm so happy that I have them in my collection. When you consider, for me, CoSTUME National Homme, and then you consider Man in Black mixed with and add in Terre d'Hermès. I mean, those are really the big 3 for me personally, and I thoroughly enjoy wearing them. This is another one at the risk of sounding corny or cliche or cringy. This is one of the ones like Jubilation 25 that can really, it has a very regal feel to it, and it can change your mood. It's one of those fragrances. At least it is for me. I find it to be regal. I find it to be epic, etc., etc. So I really like this one. No doubt, 5 out of 5. Thank you, Santa Claus, for this. And I really appreciate all of your support in 2022. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year, a safe one at that, and always remember, my friends, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. Okay, so welcome to the bonus feature. I realized while I was editing the episode that I neglected to talk about longevity, projection, and sillage, which are really a strong suit of this fragrance. When it comes to longevity, you're going to get, and sit down for this one, a whopping 12 plus hours on your skin and 16 plus on your clothes. So you'll be very, very content indeed with this fragrance when it comes to longevity. 12 hours plus on skin and 16 plus on clothes. Very happy. I love the original in terms of longevity as well, and the Parfum version it does just as well, if not better. When it comes to projection, you're looking at an arm's length away for almost the entire duration of the fragrance of the wearing. And so if you're looking at, let's say, 12 hours on your skin, you will be able to project for about an arm's length away for at least 10 hours. So if you are someone who wants to keep your fragrance close to your skin, be very, very careful with this one and go easy on the trigger. So I was delighted, of course, with longevity and projection. And really, the triple crown is indeed going to happen, because sillage, coming in and out of rooms, walking past people, will be well over the 8-hour mark. So if you're at a party, you're coming in and out of rooms, or if in an office setting, walking by people, you're going to be they will pick up your fragrance for at least 8 hours, and they're going to ask you about it because, as I said earlier, it is highly unique, original, and a conversation starter. So thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate that. I wanted to mention those 3 points, especially because they are a strong suit of the fragrance. Happy New Year, and take care, everybody.